It is so hot in Malaysia, so I have the fan in front of me, so you can see a few strands of my hair like flying around. But yeah, who cares? It's okay. Never mind. We'll get the interview going. So shall we
Wonderful.
start?
All right, let's do it.
Hi, Laura.
Hello.
Welcome. My name is Nicolette. I am the creator for the podcast titled You're Worthless. Read that again. The juxtaposition of your very soul. I'm now currently in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And as I understand, you're in Maryland, just outside of DC. So, hello, thanks to technology, we're connected.
I know. How cool is that?
I know, right? Okay, so allow me to read a bit of your introduction for our listeners today, and then we can get right into our conversation.
Sounds great.
So, hey everyone, we have Laura Bowers here with us. Her backstory. Much like the rest of the world, COVID got Laura thinking about things. After several dramatic twists and turns, the contract Laura had been working on for 8 years wrapped up. She took this as her opportunity to leap into launching her own AI, project management, and productivity consulting business, the PMO Boss. It was time for her to take her expertise and leverage her skills and voice as a leader and entrepreneur, a working mom, dot dot dot, you guess it, a boss. The journey into entrepreneurship has had some incredible stops along the way, with one of the most significant being summiting Mount Kilimanjaro. Wow, we got a lot to unpack. Now, Laura, before we go straight into business, could you share with us what was it like growing up as Laura Bowers?
Oh gosh, that's actually an interesting question, right? I don't even know that I understand that now as an adult trying to figure out how I got here, right? Like all of the things that shaped me along the way. But I grew up in New Jersey, in the US, and I was there all the way up until I went to college. And I feel like I had a, normal life. I'm using air quotes, like whatever normal really means. But, it was my mom and dad, me and my sister. Um, just growing up and doing stuff, um it's only now kind of as an adult that I can look back and reflect on like what worked for me and what didn't and all that kind of stuff. But I as soon as I got to college, I did get married really young, which ended up not working out.
It's okay.
Had
We're gonna share.
along the
I can
way.
share my story too. Like before 30, married and divorced. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
on the
right.
same
It's almost like you got to get the practice one out of the way.
exactly.
um,
You're right.
but yeah, then went to college and then started my career, and I've just kind of been like moving through life. It's really only recently that I've pivoted into like living more intentionally and
Mm.
adding purpose and aligning to my values. Like I didn't really ever think about that up until the last couple of years.
Oh my God. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So we're gonna dive into that. So what made you decide to take the leap and open your own business when 90% of small businesses fail?
Yeah, I think entrepreneurs are just we're a certain kind of crazy, right? What I did know is that continuing to work in an environment where I was working for somebody else's vision, somebody else's bottom line, it was not
Dreams.
really fulfilling me anymore, right? It was just kind of like I felt like I had a lot more to offer if I could kind of streamline that process. And I know that the life I was trying to build was not going to be possible on like a regular salaried position. Like there was kind of only so much, I could do or so much I could earn like in my current field. So in order to really break through that next level, I needed to look into having my own company and doing it myself to really
I
have
love
impact.
that. You know why I can resonate with that so much? Because right now, I've been on my own journey as well. So I see here that you wrote COVID. So yes, I think COVID changed everything, and of course, I was not an exception. So experienced my own trauma, divorce 2019. So and then I threw myself into work, and then it was a toxic
Yeah.
environment coupled with the the how the world was trying to adjust to the new way of working. And then yeah, burnout got the best of me, and
Yeah.
then it forced me to really ask myself, like, who am I? It's not what what am I doing on this on the face of this earth, right?
Yeah.
And and I've been on my own journey as well since then. And it's taken me at least 4 years so far to fully understand or grasp the meaning of self love. Now, I
Mm,
know we're going, but truly, when you love yourself, that's only when you're aligning with who you truly are. And right now, happy to let you know that, and our listeners, that I am actually transitioning out of my 9 to 5 finally. So after the toxic environment, I went to a different company, but then it wasn't, I didn't see myself moving. I didn't see myself staying for a long period of time as
yeah.
well. So yeah, now transitioning to my own thing, coaching and therapy. So yay.
That's so exciting. I mean, congratulations to you. It's a big deal, right?
It is. And then I went back and I briefed my mom and dad about it, especially my dad, because he's always been the pillar of me education, like, going the traditional route of
Mhm.
career. So I told him, I don't really want to do this anymore. She was like, because I he saw how bad I was, the shape I was in back in 2020, and I
Mhm.
told him I can't do this.
Yeah.
Okay, I took sabbatical for 2 months then, and then but then I was really scared at the time, and I forced myself into looking for another job, but I knew that this is not going to be long term, so I
Right.
pivoted. So yes, 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 yes. So that is a bit of my backstory.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I can completely relate. Like, I think in for COVID, least for me, and it sounds like a lot of people, it was just like such a huge time for reflection of just what do you really want out of life? Like, what
mhm.
are you doing that's going to make you happy? Because I was working in IT, so like my job went nuts.
I
We
was
were
working in one of the big four, so I can relate.
yeah, we were like slammed. So it was
Oh
like
my
my
gosh.
reflection was just kind of like I was just going bananas, and I'm like, you know, not that it wasn't that we weren't providing value, but um it didn't feel appreciated, right? It was kind of
Yeah,
like
that's the right
it's like I was
term.
busting my hump here, like in these insane conditions. I had two little kids at home, and I was just like,
Oh my god, yeah, that
this
must have been
isn't
very
fair.
difficult for you.
Oh,
I
it's
mean, I
yeah,
have
it
a
was
cat,
hardest time.
but
Hardest time.
that alone, it's like a cat is like, and I'm just by myself, and yeah, it must have been very difficult for you. Your kid wants to join our conversation. That's also fine.
Yes, I know they are
So
testing the limits
cute.
with the
That's so
mommy's busy right now.
okay. Well, if any of your kids wants to pop in and then have a cameo, that's fine too. Because sometimes my
Okay.
cat just jump in. So, all right. Laura, why is leadership and culture so important to a project success?
Yeah, I think once you've experienced poor leadership and poor culture, you can't
Ooh,
help but understand how important it
yes.
is. Because
Hashtag relatable.
yeah, I've been in both, right? I've been in leadership changes that have really positively shaped me and I've learned a lot from, but I actually think you'll learn just as much from the bad ones because it is the use case of what you don't want to do and don't want to uh present to your teams, right? So when you start seeing those leaders in the negative, it's a really toxic, cancerous effect when leaders have ego or power that they just can't really work through. It's demotivating and it causes huge retention issues. People don't stay in those environments, right? Like, sometimes depending on how the economy and the job market is doing, they may stick around a little bit longer, but they're not going to be producing well and they're going to kind of leave as soon as the opportunity presents itself. So when I kind of got myself into a position of significant leadership, I had a team of it was over 60 people at one point, right? So it was a
Wow,
pretty
that's a
decent
big one.
domain.
Yeah.
It was really important for me to make sure that those people felt valued. And when I stepped into that environment, it wasn't great. So we really had to do a lot of work about getting to know one another and understanding each person's value and recognizing that value, so
Mm-hmm.
that they didn't feel like they were just coming in and like I don't know, punching the clock, right? Just doing their hours and going home. So over time, it definitely wasn't an overnight thing. But over time, people started to care more. They started to actually create friendships above and beyond the workplace. And it just became um, a much better environment over time. And I could see the difference in how the team was producing, which is ultimately what the company wants, right? So it's a win-win.
Exactly, exactly. So I mean we could go on for hours about this
Probably.
because that's exactly what I felt before. And then I think in what I've learned is that you can either perpetuate the leadership style, the
Hmm.
toxic, I don't know what's the right term, bad toxic leadership style, or have it stop at you and not because the people that are in your team are usually the younger ones, and if they see you as the leader and they look up to you, and then they see that you also act the same way as the other line managers, they're gonna be like, also, this is the way that the world works, this is how corporate is, and this is how I should be leading my team in the future. And then you are in it's like, how do I say it, inevitably shaping them to
Hmm.
be the same thing. And to me, that is truly against my own values. Like, I remember being shouted at in front of my subordinates, and and then when I talk to them, like I have a catch up with my team, and then I'll be like, when I talk to them, it's like, although I was taking so much of the stress and the punching, when I
Hmm.
relayed the information, I said, okay, give me the updates and what is it? What are you actually struggling with? And a part of that really, and I thought that I could change the culture by being myself, but then no, I was so wrong. So I had to pull myself out of the system.
Hmm.
And yeah. And but to make that jump is definitely it's about understanding yourself and understanding where you want to be and how you want to present yourself to the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so much of leadership, like leading up into maybe the last decade or so, was
Mm-hmm.
about being powerful
Mm-hmm.
and people falling in line and kind of almost like that
Yes.
military order of like you listen to your superiors. I feel like it's
Yes.
only really more recently that it's more about treating people like people, right? And
Exactly.
in a sense, there is kind of like an era of cycle breakers, right?
Yeah,
Which I think is what
exactly.
you were kind of speaking to, is like having to be that change, and it's like, I don't know, we're gonna do things a little differently now.
Mm-hmm. 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 Because you can't look past this. It's
Mhm.
the new generations are coming up, and if these corporations are going to be there for a long time, somehow the newbies are going to step up, right?
Yeah.
And we need that kind of that new thing. So I mean, having coaches like yourself and me going to be, so it's like people, I'm just thinking out loud. The people entering, or whoever that's already in the system right now in the corporate, they're gonna maybe, some of them are gonna start thinking like, is this the right way of working or leading the team? Maybe not. Maybe I'm gonna go out and look for coaches, such as yourself, and yeah, and hopefully bring that change back into the environment slowly but surely. I know it's tough because you're still accountable to the higher ups, but
Hmm.
yeah, we're making a change one step at a time.
Yeah.
So okay, Laura, what are the 3 tips for entrepreneurs looking to leverage AI in their business?
Yeah, I think the very first thing is to just be really clear that it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. So this is something, it's a skill set you have to embrace no matter where you are in the spectrum. Like there's plenty of early adopters, but there's also a lot of people that are still scared of it, or they think they actually just don't like it. They think
Woo
it's
woo.
right? It's like it's cheating. It's all these different, no matter where you are on that spectrum of how you feel about it. It is here. It's gonna penetrate every part of business. So I think it's everyone's personal responsibility to at least learn the basics and understand it, so that they can start to identify not only ways to leverage it and benefit, but also identify it in ways that it could potentially be a negative or harmful, right? So like you can spot scams and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, even just beyond business use. So that's kind of the first thing, is just it's time to expand skills. This is a transition that like the entire population just needs to start learning a new skill set.
Upskilling, right? Like I just
Yeah,
add into
upskilling.
your own portfolio.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, and kind of piggybacking off of that, any business that doesn't embrace it will get left behind. I mean, there's already plenty of companies. I mean, AI is not new, right? So there's plenty of companies that have had AI embedded in many business processes. But this concept of the generative AI, where it's kind of like these intellectual conversations and um, really more advancements in what's being done, you'll get left behind. Like, there's no way you can be a small business. I mean, especially a small business, but probably any business at this point, and not get left in the dust of any of your competitors that are using this. So I think there's an opportunity to figure out how to use it ethically, and that's kind of what we focus on. We focus on ethical implementation that kind of aligns to a company's values, so that when they're using AI, like the it's garbage in, garbage out, right? So whatever you're putting in is quality, so that when
Yeah.
we're working with AI, you're getting good responses that are in
Quality.
alignment with the brand values.
Yeah.
So that's a huge difference in where people can differentiate themselves and
Mm.
use things ethically. Um, you know, there's not a lot of legal precedents yet, right? There's so many lawsuits that starting to kick up.
Go. Yeah.
Right. I mean, determinations need to be made, but in the meantime, you should understand like what is being tried in court or starting to go through the court systems and understand where the copyright issues are and all that kind of stuff. So, um, yeah, I mean, that's kind of like what I spend a lot of time thinking about is just how businesses really just can't sleep on this. And, it's not a wait and see moment. It's not
Hmm.
like, we're going to wait and see what
We're gonna
happens.
see like how this AI is gonna change the trajectory of
Hmm.
the world and whatnot. Everybody has to be in it somehow, one way or another, right? And okay, share with us. I know we talk about management just now.
Hmm.
I just that a question just popped up. What's your
Okay.
management style like, and how do you implement that in your business at the moment?
Yeah, it's maybe a little bit of a soft word, but I think it's empathetic. It's an empathetic
Same.
leader, right? So it's
That's
it's it's not about not getting done. Like I'm actually a very direct person, and I appreciate people being direct back with me. So I'm not trying to be all like let's hug things out at the workplace. But I mean, there are ways to work with people to understand what is motivating their behavior, right? Either their
Mhm.
high performance or low performance, and especially as you get to know people, you can tell when there's a difference in their performance. If all of a sudden it's dipping down, or all of a sudden it's tipping up, like it's just such a more valuable relationship when you can be empathetic to whatever they may be experiencing in their life and work with them in those situations. Because if somebody is a high performer and they're having a rough, I don't know, quarter, something happens and things have gone sideways, if you can have a relationship with them, they will come back and work 10x more for you because of the value that they're going to have with you caring about them and whatever they were going through, whether it's big or little. It doesn't really matter. The fact that you take the time to maybe help them navigate their kids pickup schedule, right? It could be the simplest of things, but a
Yeah.
lot of employers won't stop to do that. And
Hmm.
that could be the difference of somebody sticking out and crushing it versus then looking for the next job that pays them, $5 more.
That's true. Yeah. Wow. I mean, there's so much truth in that
Mhm,
statement. Thank you so much for that. And
mhm.
in terms of AI, right? So how are you implementing AI and the projects that you're doing for your client, or how you're working with clients right now?
Mhm. Yeah, so a lot of what we do is we kind of look and baseline kind of where they're at with stuff, and then we'll make some recommendations. Uh, there's some basic things that people can be doing across the board. We'll be looking at a lot of templates and repetitive processes, anything that um, they're doing over and over again, help them build those prompts that are
Mm.
again in alignment with the company values, so that when they're communicating with AI, they can get a consistent voice out of the response. There's a lot you could do with templates. Like you can give AI templates and then ask it to give you a response in it. So like a good example would be a press release. Like if your company writes press
Uh,
releases, you can like feed it your template, and then the next time you need to write a press release, you just write a summary of what's going on. You still have
and
a
then,
human and an employee like doing it, making sure the data is correct, but you can be
yeah,
like, all right, here's what happened, here's our template, and it'll kick it back out to you, and then you've kind of streamlined that process to be much much shorter turnaround. So those are things. And then as you continue to go, deeper into the AI, you can create company GPTs essentially, where you have almost a company specific AI bot, right? So it can be used either for um, an employee tool so that employees have access to quick answers for company policies, rules, regulations, any of that kind of stuff. Or it can be customer facing where people can get better customer service responses for the basic stuff. So that way, like if they need to know, let's say it's a hair salon and they want to reschedule their appointment, a little bot, can answer the cancellation or the reschedule policy. Whereas, humans can get involved for the more important stuff, like if people want to talk about the hair treatments and what's the best thing for them. So you're able to like give people a more personalized human to human experience when necessary because you're cutting a lot of the easy stuff off the plate. Like, no, I don't know a lot of people that want to get on the phone and wait through a customer service call to find out what the rescheduling policy is if they can just click a couple buttons. Like that's becoming a smaller
Yes.
and smaller number of people.
Mm-hmm.
uh, and then even beyond that, then you can start to build out actual workflows where you have different systems communicating and it's actual AI intelligence and it starts to get relatively advanced. I don't personally do any of that stuff, but I work with engineers that help build that out for clients as they
Right.
need it. So there's kind of
Right.
different levels to like where this can go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. I think you're doing great work in this space.
It's interesting. I'll give you that. It's definitely interesting.
And you have passion for this, right? This is what you love doing.
Yeah, I really like. I am my position is that there is stuff that AI can do that can give humans the time to be more human. Like so
Ooh,
many people
I love
struggle.
that. Yeah.
So many people struggle with time management, and they don't have time. They're so many of us. We don't have the time to spend with our kids, to spend with our family, to like do the vacation. And as there's opportunities, like if this can legitimately shift culture, like what I don't want to see is companies embracing AI and then just making their employees do more other stuff, right? Like I think
Exactly.
there's ways to make jobs um less stressful, give people more flexibility, and when you're an entrepreneur, you have more opportunity to do that within your own world so that you can actually get time back for human stuff.
I love it. I mean, I
Mhm.
love that notion. It's because we are creating all of this advancement is to give back the time or anything that makes us more human at the end of the day, right?
Right.
Same thing like the AI advancement in the medical field. It's supposed to help you to, I don't know, navigate the treatments better so you can, prolong your lifespan
Yeah.
or yeah, better target or how do I say this? You can call out any of this malignant things on your system and whatnot, and that's why it's here for. It's not
Yeah.
like the inverse of that where we have all this advancement but then you're made to work more.
Yeah.
That's like that defeats the whole purpose.
Yeah, there was an article, and forgive me because I don't remember all the specifics, but essentially, like AI can detect breast cancer at a faster, more accurate rate than the doctors, right? And that doesn't mean we still don't need a doctor to verify what
Yeah,
the AI found.
exactly. Yeah.
But if it's going to be more likely to catch breast cancer or any cancer, this particular article was about breast cancer, they can
Mm-hmm.
do it faster and then
Mm-hmm.
allow the doctor to have more time to talk to a patient about treatment plans. Right,
Mm-hmm.
like that's
Yes.
like, and that's where
The
people,
less
especially in the medical
invasive
system,
ones, yeah, the
yeah,
ones that are so I mean very much um the minimal treatment for those that are life threatening ones, right?
hmm
So I totally agree with that. What are the best and worst practices you've seen, and what are the top 5 lessons learned?
yeah. I think we've talked about a couple. A lot of them are around leadership and just not really having good leadership style or not being empathetic. But beyond that, one of the things I see running rampant in organizations is the inability to prioritize. I've just seen that just crush organizations, because when you can't prioritize, you're having your team run around honestly like chickens with their heads cut off, right? It's just this back and forth. What are we trying to do? So you end up
Yeah.
working towards kind of nothing, and it takes forever to get projects done because you're always shifting your attention. So that is, I think, at the top of my list, just because I've seen it plague so many so many things. Um, and then I think the second part of your question was what
Top 5 lessons learned.
yeah, top 5 lessons learned. All right. So, um, again, one, I would say be empathetic, right? Treat people like people. Um, leverage your automations and systems where you can. Take the time to do that, because
Mhm.
systems are more reliable than humans, right? For repeatable processes. So let's not add human error where we don't need to. I would say knowing your priorities, being very uh not just clear about them, but like if somebody messes with your priorities, speak up and be like, well, I was focusing on this, and like now you want me to focus on that, so let's talk about the impact, and just make sure you're kind of not getting jerked around,
Mhm.
right, with that. So um there's that one. I would say upskilling around communication. So I think the people that really excel in their careers are able to communicate effectively, or at least understand the importance of communication. Because I think it's such a fundamental skill. Like we all communicate on some basis, but that doesn't mean we're doing it well. And that doesn't mean the other person understands us. Right. So I think there's a lot
Yeah.
of room to improve that. And I would say the last thing is to make sure that you're not working with expectations, you're working with agreements. Because when you have expectations, it does not mean the other person has the same expectations. But if you make an agreement, then it becomes much clearer. And I would say that's actually like that's a lesson across everything, every relationship in your life. Having the
Exactly.
unmet
Romantic,
expectation.
non-romantic, work, whatever it
Yeah.
is.
That
Yeah.
one can come in handy when you're just like, no, let's actually agree on what we're gonna do instead of just
Eh,
assume I know
Assume.
this.
Yes. Now. Okay, change management. You know
Mhm.
how it goes hand in hand with PMO. What have you learned so far about change management throughout the duration of your career?
Mm.
And what are your thoughts on that? How do we navigate change management
Um, just to kind of clarify, are you talking organizationally or like the very like
organizationally? Yeah.
IT based
Oh,
changes?
yes, yes, yes.
So, organizationally, I think with change management, communication is key, because when changes come, everybody starts acting a fool, right? You have people like worried about stuff that they're just, I mean, pulling out of the air, right? So I think when
Mm,
you have some transparency about the change, impact, where people can go with questions, and not just public like options, right? Like here's an anonymous way to submit a question, here's a public way, like multiple ways to engage the community that's going to go through the change. If you can get that buy-in leading into it, you'll be way more successful. And then just maintaining that communication and transparency every step of the way, and you'll be leaps and bounds ahead of the other people that are doing it, that are just like, oh, we're just gonna like reorg and not explain to anybody why, and like make everybody worry.
yes, yes, yes. What about in terms of a system implementation?
Mhm.
Uh,
I think that's a little bit more tactical, right? So that does come down to just having good processes in place. I think a lot of organizations do change management without process, or they'll put process in place and then they don't want to, it slows you down, right? If you have to actually have approvals. I've been in some environments where they're kind of like, all right, well, we need this to be, deployed into production next week. And we're like, okay, well, that doesn't fit the process timeline. Like we actually need at least 30 days to do the testing and whatever. So that can be a challenge when people want the process, but then, they want the flexibility. So I
Yeah.
think having some clear uh what is it? I guess organizational fortitude, I don't know if that's the right word, but you have to have a backbone with the
Mm,
policies and procedures you're putting out so that you can follow them, so they don't get messed up in the way. Like you can't compromise the process, because then you're going to put something in production that's not tested and it'll have a negative impact, and that's how you end up start following bad practices, not best
yeah.
practices. So um yeah.
I totally. agree on the last part. You said you're following the bad practices, because if you are implementing change, most likely it's going to be something new for the
Yeah.
reorg, and if it's not done properly, that thing's going to cascade again into the future, and then the same problem is going to occur. And we are saying that we changed this, we spent a lot of money, but then nothing's good happening here. Like,
Yeah.
what is happening? So I get that personally, that was my experience. So yeah, but I was a consultant before and then went into a commercial, so I've seen both sides. And I think change management is one of the, if not most important, uh how do I say this, uh, thing that you have to, it's an enabler, right, across
Hmm.
that whole thing. PMO, of course, but then change management has to be managed properly as well.
Yeah.
Right. So, Laura, is it really possible to balance all the needs of a project?
I think it's difficult because people are actually what make projects hard, right? So,
Yes, that is correct.
um, I do think it's possible with strong leadership and strong processes. I feel like everything we're talking about today is just, it's a reoccurring theme, right? It's like if you got good leaders and you've got good processes, you have got the best chance of executing your project on time, on schedule, all those things, right? Um, but whenever one of those start to falter, that is where you're going to start to see a problem, right? And then it becomes a priority game, right? What's the priority? Getting it done on time or getting it done on budget? Is it,
Yeah,
you
that one.
start doing some
Yeah.
risk management and some of the other things come in. So possible, but not always easy.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so Laura, what is it about the BOSS framework that makes PMO successful?
Yeah, so the BOSS framework, it essentially stands for baseline, outline, setup, and sustain. So when we are working with our clients, we go in and we kind of baseline the situation that they're at. We find out what's working, what's not, talk to them about what needs to change or what they're trying to make the future look like. And then we kind of come back with our outline, our recommendation for the plan. We leverage AI everywhere we can to optimize to the best of the team's ability for the client. And with that, we help them set it up. But I actually think what is most important out of all of this is the sustainment of it. Because if we
Mm-hmm.
put
Mm-hmm.
policies and procedures into place that the clients can't keep up with, or, again, it's kind of like the change management. You create a process, but then you don't do the process. We really haven't helped them at all. If all this work just kind of gets ignored and they don't have the team with the training in place to keep it going. So we have a lot of conversations around that to make sure that they can move forward successfully. And then as part of the sustaining of it, we check in with them and optimize and yeah, ensure that it's going successfully.
Flashbacks. I'm having flashbacks. Thank you. So, Laura, how do you breathe life back into a lifeless team?
Yeah, it takes a lot of community building, right? And that's again, it's not overnight, but some of the things that we did, they seem so simple, but it was like doing team cards when somebody was having a baby, right? Like
Um,
the whole team signing the card and just doing like that kind of stuff wasn't happening.
Caring, right? Like, actually
Right, right. Like,
caring.
congratulations.
Yeah.
Here's, it doesn't have to be a huge gift or whatever, but here's a couple bucks the team put together to help you with diapers. Or
Yeah.
potlucks was a huge one. I like just doing a potluck and giving people a reason to commune. Like I know in the definitely in the American culture, it's like you eat your lunch at your desk, and
Oh,
maybe you go.
really?
Oh my god, yeah,
Really?
like we're terrible out
I
here. We
mean,
just
we have in Asian culture too, yes, but we have pantries. The team, the places that I've been with, okay, sometimes we do have like lunches outside together, but then, yeah, some of them choose to eat at their desk. So,
yeah,
hmm
a lot. So, obviously I can't speak on everybody, but very visible in my experiences. It's just you eat your lunch
Right.
up, you eat at your desk, you're still answering emails, like maybe you're scrolling some social media something for a few minutes, but it's like it's very disconnected. So people do go to lunch and there's obviously like some pockets of socialization going on, but
Mm-hmm.
even then that can be clicky within a team, right? So to really break down the
Yeah.
boundaries of the team and like create
True.
new relationships, um you have to pull them in, and you've got to do it in a way that's worth it to them, right? Like
Mm-hmm. Is it
and
worth my while
yeah, it's like
to
mandatory fun.
participate? Yeah. Well, sometimes I had problems with that too because I was in charge also in a culture building culture crafters of this new organization that I was in. It's a new big team. So it was like we were trying to crack our heads like what do we do every quarter or
Mhm.
um bi-yearly, and it's like okay, try to find what should we do. And I'm like the first few years I was like okay, let's do this, and then I'm like after that I'm like okay, I'm gonna pass the baton to you people, go think of it
Yeah,
yourself. But the point I'm trying to make is that the if you are really genuinely caring about the people and about the associates, then they'll feel it. But if you're just launching it or having that kind of events just for the sake of okay, we're gonna
mhm,
have to do this, you can feel the energy is not the same.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it takes a lot of
Yeah.
one-on-one conversations so that that is
Yes.
built.
Yes.
Like, I don't think you can just send out a memo or an email and be like, "Here's our culture." It takes so much more of the individual connections and being like, "No, this is for real. We really want this change. We're not kidding." Like, people have to buy in,
Yeah.
and without that buy-in,
Yes.
it's not
Yes.
the change.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I want to share, just because it works so well, is at the beginning of COVID. COVID ended up lasting longer than we all expected. So like our team actually changed. Employees came and went, and like
Yeah.
people didn't know each other because they got hired during COVID. So
Yeah.
doing this thing where we did like a guess who game. So I had everybody submit just interesting facts about themselves. And then I would release it on, it was Microsoft Teams, but like any type of team collaboration chat tool, right, that you have. I would release clues throughout the day in
Yeah.
our little like our team chat, right? Just the general team chat. And then they would try to guess who it was. And it was a
Mm.
really cool way to like bring new people into the team, but also like have some of the originals try to guess like, who did play saxophone in, I don't know, whatever, in New York City in the 70s. Like
Oh yeah.
whatever impact it was that they brought up. And it was a really just cool way to get to know people on a different level. So even in remote environments, it's being really creative about what you can do to not just put people in a team chat, but get them to know one another.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember too. I was also on border during COVID, so fun
Yeah,
experience.
it's hard. It's very hard to come into a team where you have no idea who all these other faces are that are on the screen.
Mm-hmm. Mm. But now that I think of it, it's actually helped me become more comfortable, like talking to people like yourself. And I guess I started podcasting just 8 months ago. So and it's like I'm making it a norm for me. Like you don't have to meet that person face to face to build a connection, and it is possible. So leverage like how you're
Yeah.
leveraging AI. I'm leveraging also AI like when I am editing all these things, and then leveraging technology as a whole,
hmm
right? Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much, Laura. So
hmm
what is next for you?
So next for me, it may be just a little bit more of the same. We are, a new company. We're still in our humble beginning stage, so trying to get the word out there as much as possible, so we can start helping as many companies as possible get that time back, and using AI in ways that's ethical and not scary or threatening to teams, because it is a culture thing, right? Making sure you can integrate a new technology like this without compromising culture, maybe
Mm-hmm.
even improving culture. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of excitement about being able to like to help companies improve, just beyond just the technical implementation, but actually help them build stronger, better companies as we go along. So that's exciting. And then I've also been working on kind of an individual community where people can upskill. Because sometimes it's not the company, right? It's just people just they're like, oh my God, what do I need to learn? I don't have time to read 100 news articles and play with, 75 AI tools because there's so much noise in this market, right? There's tools and solutions. It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
So we're also creating a community for individuals that want to have um, an opportunity to learn and ask questions without feeling honestly not feeling stupid, right? Just having a place to go where they can ask stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Mhm.
So, Laura, I'm going to pivot to a self-worth question
Okay.
because what's happening here? I think my eyelashes got into my eye. Because my podcast talks a lot about self-worth.
Mhm.
And question for you, Laura. Imposter syndrome is a
Mm.
common challenge that affects people in various fields. So how can one overcome this syndrome and recognize their true value and capabilities?
I think one way to do it is just to ignore what any kind of norm is supposed to be. Because when you start
Mm,
thinking of what it's supposed to be, when you then don't fit that mold, you immediately start to think, I don't belong here. And we're
yeah.
certainly not immune to imposter syndrome. I've felt it over the years, but it's gotten to a point um, where it's like you just can't care. Like I had somebody just the other day be like, "How did you get into AI?" I'm like, "I don't really know, but here I am."
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Yes.
it's like I don't know. So it's I could have definitely taken that comment and been like, "Huh, "What am I doing here?" But
Yeah.
what that doesn't help me out at all, and actually that becomes a step back. So I think it's just ignoring any of the what's supposed to be. I think if you look at the way that a lot of societal things are structured and in place right now, they're not working. So why would
Mm,
we keep doing it the exact same way? Let's get some fresh perspective, fresh people, and just anyone that thinks they can do it should try.
exactly. Wow. Yes, I am on that boat as well.
Yeah.
Yay. We're making that change
hmm
one day at a time. So, Laura, what is your heart's greatest wish?
Ooh, I mean, it's a little selfish, but I just want to create the best world possible for my kids. I want them. I really. They're young. They're 6 and 9, so I really want them to get to adulthood and have choices. I feel
Mm,
like my life was not bad by any means, but it was like I'm gonna graduate and go to college and make a job, and I'm gonna be happy, and then I'm gonna retire.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
I
Yeah, that's the normal trajectory.
Yeah,
Same
I
here.
really want them to, like, know what their passions are and do that instead, and not just have to worry about health insurance and a paycheck.
Absolutely. That is so true. Thank you so much for sharing that. Do you have a mantra that you live by?
Um, I do kind of. I try to lead like I wanna be led, and I try to take an action every day towards my dreams, right? Like, one little step closer. So it's not like a whole pretty little sentence, but that's, 2 philosophies I try to live by.
I felt that. Hmm. Is there anything that keeps you up at night or do you sleep well?
Oh my god, I'm such a good sleeper.
Really?
I'm
Oh,
busy. I'm so busy. I've got the kids. I'm trying to do too much all the time. Sleeping is not a problem for me.
awesome. Awesome. Okay, then that's good. That's one problem out of the way. So, Laura, if you could create a quote right now for you to leave to the audience listening and the world as your legacy, what would
Mhm.
it be?
I think that the quote would be, um, anything that you've ever been curious about, lean in and try it.
Okay. That that was a mic drop. Wow. Thank you so much. What
Mhm.
a way to end our conversation today. I love it. I
Oh,
love
thank
it.
you. Thank you.
And
It's been
that
fun.
yeah, thank you so much. And that means listening within, right?
Mhm.
Tuning
Yeah,
into your intuition, like really, really. And not being scared about somebody else is doing this and they're getting ahead with their life by doing this, and you also being scared in that fear mindset that, oh, if he or she's doing this, there must be something that I must also follow. But
right.
then deep down you want to be dancing, Or you want to be singing, for
Why not,
example.
right? Because I think, none of us wanna be at our last days and have regrets, and it just
Yes,
I don't know, like, that scares me almost more than anything. Like, I would rather
exactly.
do business and fall for it flat on my face
Thank
than
you.
have not do
Wow,
it.
that's strong. Yes, I love it. Yeah, I
Mm.
mean, nobody wants to be on the deathbed and said, "Oh, I wish I would clock more hours in that
Yeah, right,
project."
yeah. I didn't work enough.
Exactly. Okay, Laura, how can people reach out to you?
The website is the best way. If you go to the PMOBoss.com, that has always all our socials. It's got some freebies we have, how to reach out to us. So I think that's probably gonna be the best spot.
Okay. All right. So, well, you have it here, guys. You heard it from Laura herself. So, this is the end of our interview today, and thank you for listening. Bye bye.
Thank you.